Hey everyone, my name is Sydney and welcome back to my channel. A disclaimer for this video before you start watching is that this list is really meant for people who absolutely hate horror movies, you know, like all the gore, all of the blood, all those sort of things.
Because I come from a place.
As a person who hates those sort of horror movies with all the blood and the gore and the
scary jump scares.
I know that's what Halloween is basically about, but I honestly can't stomach it. I just wanted to get that little disclaimer out there before I get started on this list because I didn't want people to be watching this video and midway through be like,
oh my gosh, these movies are totally not scary, like
This isn't Halloween.
I know that, I understand that, but I really made this list for people who hate that sort of thing. If you love horror movies, there is definitely not going to be any good movies on here or any good suggestions for you guys to watch this Halloween. So without further ado,
Let's jump right into this list.
I've organized this video into TV shows and movies. I'm starting off with TV shows first and then we'll head over to looking at some movies. And I basically ranked them on the scary meter that I created that goes from 1 to 10. Level 1 are all movies that I consider more, it's basically like watching a Disney movie. Like there's a happy ending, all the characters are happy, nobody dies viciously or scarily, if that's even a word, scarily. And then level 10 are like TV shows and movies that I found super scary, like my soul left my body physically and I just can't find my soul anywhere, like I physically lost it, can't look for it. Starting off with TV shows, the first show I have for you guys is Good Witch, and this show has 5 seasons in it. Now I rank Good Witch at around a -30. Honestly, it's probably less scary than even watching any Disney movie, like there's
nothing that goes wrong with it.
And basically the show is about this mom and her daughter who are both witches, and they're in this little town and it's just all the struggles that they have to face trying to hide the fact that they're witches. I would describe the show as if you mixed Hallmark, you know, the holiday TV shows or holiday movies, and you took that and you mixed that with Halloween.
That's what this show is.
It's kind of corny at times, but its cuteness makes up for it. The next show that I recommend for everyone is Charmed.
Hold on, let me just jump into this video really quick. Hi, this is Editing Sydney, and I just came on here to let you guys know that I was editing the video and I went on Netflix to get one of the posters for the Charmed series. You know, I looked up Charmed and something else came up. It was the new version of Charmed and the old one didn't come up, and I was like, no freaking way. Netflix did not just take Charmed off of their page or whatever, their site. Well, apparently they did. I'm looking at an article right now and it said that Netflix is taking it off in October. Which sucks, and I'm very sorry. That was on the list and now it's not because you really can't watch it on Netflix anymore. I'm just so sad. I didn't even get to finish all of the seasons, like there's 8 of them, and I'm just so bummed now. Okay, well anyways, back to the video.
Next up is Vampire Diaries, and Vampire Diaries has 8 seasons in it. I've ranked this show at a level 2. Now there's a little bit of blood in it, but it's not like people are ripping their guts out. There's animals that are like being flung around with their eyes or faces half missing or anything like that. Nothing weird like that going on in this show. But basically a rundown of it is that there's this teenage girl named
Elena.
Her parents died over the summer and she basically has to try to integrate herself back into high school, you know, go back to normal. But then all of a sudden she meets this like mysterious guy named Stefan. He's a vampire or something, and the whole series is just about all these different people being vampires, people dying, and fights and battles. It's super cheesy.
Not gonna lie.
I think I tried to watch the first episode a few years before I got into the whole series, and I just couldn't get through the whole episode at all. It was just like, oh my gosh, this acting is horrible. Everybody's so dramatic. You really just have to get through the first 3 episodes. You'll kind of fall into the whole
dramatic TV show rhythm.
If you feel like it's cheesy at first, just push through it and just get to the 3rd episode. If that doesn't incentivize you enough, I mean, they're also just all super hot, attractive characters in it. So you just gotta watch for those characters because they'll definitely make it worth it. Next up is Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and that is, I think it's around 2 seasons. I would consider this TV show about a limited series, so you could probably get through this in about a week. Basically, if you mix Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Riverdale, you would get the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. If you haven't seen Sabrina the Teenage Witch, it's basically about this teenage girl who's a witch, but the thing that's different about Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is that it's still about this teenage girl, but in this adaptation, she's more of like half human, half witch, and when she turns 16, she has to choose between both sides bride. She either has to fully convert to all of her witchness or fight it off. And that's basically what the first season's about. I don't want to spoil anything,
I don't want to give anything away.
which is the reason why I'm not going to talk about the second season, but that's what the first season is about, if you guys were wondering. Show number 5 I highly suggest for everyone is The Mist. And The Mist is only one season, and that is definitely a limited series that you could probably watch in a few days. I would rank this show around a level 6. Like, there's definitely people walking around with half of their faces off. There's some disturbing stuff that goes on here. But the reason why it's a level 6 instead of a level 10 is because the CGI is just
So bad.
you can totally tell that it's fake and that everything's not realistic at all. So you can definitely tell between what's real and what's fake, and it's just an easy TV show to watch if you don't have the stomach for anything bloody. This show is an adaptation of Stephen King's The Mist. So you're definitely guaranteed that it's going to be terrifying and it's going to be Halloween-esque, which is the reason why I recommend it. Now, I talked about Stephen King in my last video, and if you haven't watched that video, make sure you check it out.
I'll link it out down below.
A little rundown of the show is that this mysterious mist with these weird creatures and what's it called? Possessed. The scary creature with these possessed insects that are hiding in the mist. Basically, this mist kills humans and it comes to this town and it causes a bunch of chaos. People doing inhumane things, sacrificing other people, killing other people. You know the gist of it.
It's like a zombie apocalypse.
And that's really all the show is about. But I highly recommend it if you're feeling a little bit more risky about your choices in TV shows. The very next show I highly recommend is Black Mirror. And Black Mirror, I think it has around 5 seasons in it. I would rank this show around a level 7. I haven't watched all the episodes to really tell whether or not there's any
Blood or gore in it.
but it's definitely something that's mentally disturbing. It really explores the dark side of humans, the dark side of technology, because each season has its own theme to it, so it explores different aspects of the world and the dark side to each one of them. If you don't want to watch all the episodes because all the episodes are extremely long, you can basically jump around in each season and watch any episode you want because each episode is its own little movie with its own little plot and different characters. No single episode is the same as another one. Now, that was all for TV shows.
So we're gonna move on to movies now.
The first movie I have up that I highly recommend for everybody to watch is The Circle, and I ranked The Circle around a level 5. There's no blood at all, but it's also definitely
Mentally disturbing.
because the storyline is basically about 50 of these people who are all about to be executed are put into this one room and they have to pick one person to survive the execution. If anything, this movie is really just a thriller. It's kind of disturbing to think about how people could possibly just kill each other just so that they could survive something. And it really takes a look into human nature and how far we are willing to go to survive. Up next is The Signal, and I ranked this movie around a level 6. There is no gore at all in this movie. There's just really weird characters and some really creepy music that goes on. But other than that, it's totally fine. It's not like somebody's ripping somebody else's intestines out.
Nothing like that.
The movie's about 3 teens chasing after this hacker, and they're going to this desert and end up disappearing and waking up in this insane hospital, not remembering anything that happened to them. And they're basically just trying to find out what's going on and how to get out of the situation that they just got in. Next up is Bird Box, and I ranked this movie around a level 8. Now, there's some blood in it, or a little bit more than some. There's actually quite a lot of blood, and there's a lot of jump scares and scary things that happen to people.
Kind of unpredictable.
But not as horrible as, say, watching a movie like Chucky or something. Now, I remember this movie was super popular a few years ago, so most of you have probably already watched it, but if you haven't, go check it out. It's a great movie. To summarize the movie, there's these invisible, monstrous kind of creatures who show up on Earth and they start attacking people. And what they do, they kind of like infect them or hypnotize them in a way that they make them go commit suicide and kill themselves. And it turns the whole world upside down and people are just trying to survive and this and that. It's basically like The Quiet Place, but a less scary version than that. The next movie from Netflix is Carrie, and
Yeah, you guessed it. I'm jumping back in here again. Heyo, editing Sydney back at it again. This time I'm wearing pajamas and I've been wearing it all day today. That's besides the point though. I have another issue. I found another problem with Netflix. It turns out that Carrie is no longer on Netflix anymore and that they took it down. And I found out the same way that Charm did. This is so bad. This is horrible. That was honestly the only horror movie I was actually willing to watch, and now that it's off Netflix, nobody else can watch it. I mean, people can watch it, of course, but it's not gonna be on Netflix. You're gonna have to find it some other way. If you have like Xfinity, maybe it's on Hulu. I don't really know. I don't have Hulu, so I couldn't tell you, to be honest. But yeah, so Carrie is no longer on Netflix. This whole video is just totally down the drain. I have one movie and I have one show that's not on Netflix anymore, and now my whole list is basically just done with. So let's just jump right back into the video again and away from makeupless pajama wearing Sydney right now.
Anyways, that is all the TV shows and movies that I highly recommend for you guys. Again, this list is not made up of TV shows and movies that are super horror-like and super gory, because I'm not someone
Who enjoys this sort of thing?
These are just recommendations that I found really great. Doesn't mean that anybody else is gonna like them, but I hope this at least helped for some of you guys, because I think it's so hard to find TV shows and movies with a controlled amount of gore that are Halloween themed and that really get you into the Halloween spirit. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure you like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. What show is this? This is show number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.